Zimbabwean officials investigate why 7 people died in post-election protests. Now relatives of the victims are demanding compensation. Tapping the potential of Africa's youth to end poverty, the World Bank calls for greater investment in young people.
From the sea, before the sunset.
And a performance fit for a king. Heather Maxwell goes live and unplugged with American-Ugandan act Shane Palko and Morrow. Africa 54 starts right now.
Well, good evening and welcome. I'm Vincent McCory. This is Africa 54. We begin tonight in Southern Africa, where Zimbabwean officials have launched an inquiry into what caused at least 7 deaths during a post-election protest. Some relatives of the victims are looking to be compensated. Columbus Mavunga reports from Harare.
Former interim South African President Kgalema Motlanthe is leading a commission of inquiry into what sparked violence after an August march by opposition protesters in Harare demanding the release of election results. Some say the army used live ammunition on protesters. Motlanthe says it's time to find out what really happened.
We have urged all the eyewitnesses and all those who may have information that can assist the work of the commission to please come forward.
Adrian Munjere is among those who has stepped forward. He says he witnessed the army shooting at the protesters and was injured in the crackdown. According to a medical report, Munjere's arm was fractured by a stray bullet from an AK-47. He says he is in pain and very bitter.
I'm not in a position to really review who I'm bitter at, but I'm not in a good mood. Ever since this happened, it's changed me.
He says he has spent more than $10,000 from his pocket and from well-wishers for medical treatment. The 31-year-old says he has lost most of his income since the incident and is struggling to look after his family. He is looking forward to relief from the commission.
I'm looking forward to getting compensation because right now, according to what I was told by the doctors and how I feel like I can't use this hand anymore to do anything manual labor or do anything heavy. So I need some compensation.
He is not alone in that cry. Senior ZANU-PF official Nyasha Zenda told the commission Tuesday that his bus worth $100,000 was banned by opposition protesters because it had logos of the ruling party on it. He wants to be compensated for his bus. But Munjere and Zenda are among the survivors. 7 others did not make it. They were killed in the shootings. Columbus Mavunga for VOA News, Harare.
To West Africa now, in Liberia, women's rights groups staged a protest for justice following the publication of a documentary by ProPublica unveiling the alleged abuse by the late co-founder of a charity, More Than Me Foundation. The charity was founded to protect and educate vulnerable girls. The groups marched through the streets of Monrovia and delivered petitions to the Ministries of Justice, Education and Gender, Children and Social Protection to take prompt actions, calling for justice and protection of the abused children. Last week, the charity More Than Me admitted to major failings and deeply apologized after the scale of the abuse came to light. The rapes, some of them perpetrated against children as young as 10, were carried out by the charity's co-founder, Macintosh Johnson, who later died of AIDS.
We can get justice. We are determined, we are optimistic that we're going to get justice, because justice delay is not justice denied. The women of Liberia have done this before, and we're going to continue until the system is fixed and changed and women and girls are protected in Liberia. This is the only place we call home. We need to be safe.
Well, the U.S. State Department tells Voice of America that it gave grants to Mercy Corps to fight the outbreak, and some of the money may have gone to More Than Me as a SAP grant. Now, the State Department says it has not given More Than Me any money for its educational work in Liberia. Well, Cameroon's Constitutional Council on Friday rejected the last of 18 petitions calling for a rerun of an October 7th election that the opposition said was marred by fraud. The rejections clear all legal objections to the polls, and this now paves the way for results expected to extend President Paul Biya's 36-year rule. Nearly 2 weeks after the votes, no results have been announced, but under national law, authorities have until Monday to do so. Biya is seeking a seventh term that would see him keep his place as one of Africa's longest-serving leaders. The only current African president to have ruled longer is Equatorial Guinea's Teodoro Obiang Nguema Basogo. But allegations of voter intimidation, violence and ballot stuffing cast doubt over the election, prompting the three main opposition candidates and other prominent political figures to call for the cancellation of the results. Well, with a focus on Africa's youth, the World Bank and development specialists connected with young people in more than 30 countries this week to mark End Poverty Day. They discuss how to harness the potential of young people. VOA Mariama Diallo has more.
From Abuja to Pretoria, Bamako to Antananarivo, young people from 30 African cities connected to development experts in Washington via video conferencing. Topics varied from improved internet access to blockchain technology to the digital economy and funding.
If we're going to be the ones who are crafting and shaping the future, is that the role that we want the African to play?
The World Bank reports the number of people living in extreme poverty has decreased. Data shows that while fewer people are living in extreme poverty globally, the rate of reducing poverty has slowed. World Bank Africa Region Vice President Hafez Ghanem joined in the conversation from Lusaka, Zambia, where he addressed the youth.
Africa's greatest wealth and its greatest asset is its youth. It's youth who are able to, who have the energy and the ability to move ahead and change.
Yet there's a lot of work to do in Africa. The continent's poverty problem has grown considerably worse in 25+ years.
The number of poor people in Africa has grown from 278 million people in 1990 to 413 million people today. So we have actually more poor people in Africa now than more than 20 years ago. Obviously, this is not an acceptable trend.
Ending poverty can feel like a broad concept for the youth, making it overwhelming to focus on one area of development, says Selina Bachili. The 23-year-old intern and co-moderator of the event has this advice.
We need to start somewhere. We need to start with education. We need to start with changing the mentality in the continent, and we need to move from that. We can go into agriculture, energy, and all that, but we need education, and we need to focus on STEM.
In other words, science, technology, engineering, and math. And while some say technology can provide an opportunity to develop faster, Bright Simmons, co-founder of M-Pedigree, says it depends.
The challenge is that we've done well in consuming a lot of technology. What we've not done as well is in the production of technology. So leapfrogging cannot just be about the fact that we are consuming more money transfer. It has to also be that we are producing new technologies that anticipate trends in the world.
He also says creating technologies that are relevant to the realities on the ground will represent true leapfrogging. Mariama Diallo, VOA News, Washington.
Well, the Defense Minister of the Central African Republic visited VOA here in Washington this week. In the last part of our conversation with our Idris Fall, Marie Noela Koyara discussed the challenges and opportunities of serving as our country's first female Minister of Defense.
Nowadays, there is no job for a woman or for a man. You need to put the right person in the right position to have the right result. It is true that I am the daughter of a soldier, and I was raised with military discipline. But that is not the reason why I am the defense minister. It is all about managing a department to get good results. That is how I am managing the Defense Department, as I did the Ministry of Agriculture or the Ministry of Public Works. There is not much difference at this level. It is true that some people still think that you need a soldier or a man at the head of the army, but I think what is important is to evaluate the results. Is it the results that count or the gender of the person who is in charge?
Well, that was the Defense Minister of the Central African Republic, Marie-Noëlle Koyara, speaking with viewers Idris Afar. U.S. President Donald Trump has signed a bill establishing a new foreign investment agency that aims to facilitate $60 billion of private lending for infrastructure projects in developing nations. Some see this as a reversal for a president who campaigned on an America First strategy that proposed slashing funding for international assistance. As White House correspondent Patsy Widakuswara reports, the move was done to counter China's growing influence in Africa, Asia and Latin America.
The Furi Lebu station outside of Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, is the main stop in the first modern light rail system of sub-Saharan Africa. It connects the landlocked country to maritime ports in the Gulf of Aden and the Red Sea. The massive infrastructure project was built with Chinese funding.
When the Trump administration, very senior people in the Trump administration traveled to Asia, when they traveled to other parts of the world and saw that China was eating our lunch, they thought to themselves, we have to do something.
And they did. Last month, the Trump administration quietly created a new development assistance entity, the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation, or IDFC, based on bipartisan legislation called the BUILD Act.
Well, I think it's quite significant that the Congress and the administration, in a bipartisan manner, have recognized the importance of development finance to U.S. promoting development around the world.
It's quite a reversal for a president who wanted to slash foreign aid as part of a broader plan to change how Washington engages with the world.
We reject the ideology of globalism.
The new agency will replace OPIC, the Overseas Private Investment Corporation, giving it bigger authority and more funds. Trump and some Republicans had previously wanted to end OPIC, skeptical that facilitating loans for companies doing business in developing countries is a good use of government resources. But they're faced with One Belt, One Road, over $1 trillion of Chinese investment in infrastructure projects around the world. It has strengthened Beijing geopolitically, but there are signs of trouble for the recipients.
China is on its way to being the drug dealer of international finance. There's a much larger global conversation today about debt sustainability because they are offering easy money on funny terms that aren't really necessarily transparent or follow kind of international norms.
Beijing has rejected accusations that its loans end up creating a debt trap for developing countries. With only $60 billion, analysts say the new IDFC will not be enough to counter Chinese investments around the world, but its influence can be magnified by partnering with other international lending organizations.
The French, the British, Scandinavians, they all have similar organizations. And now that the IDFC has equity authority, this new entity will be able to be a much more effective partner than OPIC could be.
And for developing countries in Africa, Asia, and Latin America that can benefit from more American investments, it's a step in the right direction. Patsy Widakuswara, VOA News at the White House.
Well, I want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we covered. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54. We're also streaming our show live on Facebook, so check us out and share our show with your friends. Find me on Twitter at VOA Vince McCorin. Still ahead on Africa 54, a multi-generational family keeps Senegalese and other West African dances alive right here in the United States. But first, a look at Friday's headlines.
Comoros' second-largest city returned to their normal lives after days without water and electricity caused by clashes between rebels and government forces. In Nigeria, MedStaff, an operation combating the spread of fake drugs in West Africa, is connecting hospitals and pharmacies with multinational and local drug manufacturers. Former Kenyan Sports Minister Hassan Waria was charged in court on Friday with abuse of office for the siphoning of funds meant for athletes who competed in the 2016 Rio Olympics. Finally, Ghana is emerging as an influential player on the international fashion scene, with increasing celebrity endorsements and a host of Ghanaians occupying high-profile places in the industry.
Well, VOA journalists Chris Simpkins and Jeff Swikart have embarked on a year-long special project to document the U.S. opioid crisis as experienced by Americans struggling with the epidemic in their own lives and careers. The result is a series, The Damage Done, Living the America's Opioid Nightmare. In our next episode, we take you to Philadelphia, where we learn what happened after police cleared out encampments of addicts in the city's Kensington neighborhood.
Want some water? Here's the water, guys. Working with the homeless addicts just was second nature to me.
You're welcome so
just
much.
Became something that I'm meant to do. I mean, I actually feel that it's my mission.
It's not too cold, but it serves a purpose.
And I was involved in a car accident in 2001. Broke my shoulder in 5 places, and they prescribed pain pills for it. My body started needing them, and I wasn't functioning. I'm not a person that does rehab very well. Went to Florida, got clean, and then I met the wrong person. It was just a person who wasn't good for me or vice versa, and started to lead me down the opiate path again. Here's a poncho and a clean t-shirt, dry t-shirt for later, all right? And it just became a downward spiral of over 4 years of pure hell. I overdosed. I woke up to having paramedics and a cop standing over me. The cop looked at me and said, "You're lucky we're not busy today." What size are those? You need 10 and a half? 10 and a half. I started working with people on the streets when I was 15 years of age. I've been doing it on what I consider to be a very full-time basis for the past 4 years. You got the Philadelphia 76ers on that? Nice. After many years of being on and off the streets, Eric finally made the decision to get himself into rehab and get some treatment and to get clean. He needs to gain people around him who support him, yet they don't enable him.
I'm going to keep trying to contact with my family. I'll keep contact with them, and I'll keep the door open.
I think at this point, you're on your way back, so welcome back, my friend.
I can't live out here no more. I'm 34 years old, and it's too much anymore. Today, I would like to get over to Prevention Point and find out about the methadone outpatient clinic. When I was on methadone before, it worked quite well for me.
Anything good going on?
Some good.
All right, like what?
Just pursuing treatment, just the fact that I am pursuing treatment.
We talked about detox before, and you talk about it again, you're afraid of that, huh?
Yes.
What's the fear in detox?
It is a horrible experience.
Really?
I hate being dope sick. If there was a way to avoid dope sick, many of them would not be out here. You could guarantee.
Going clean isn't an easy task, and doing it without having any type of opiate going through your system will make you sick. It'll give you the chills, it'll give you the sweats, the fevers, nauseous, you can't sleep. It feels like somebody is ripping the insides of you out. However, once they get past that part, the rest is easy. So you really want to do the long haul? You want to go?
I am looking to do long-term methadone.
Well, I'll tell you what, I hope 60 days from now I can actually visit you there.
Me too, I've already done it. I've done it. It's not impossible.
I am sending so much positive energy to you today and from the rest because I know you can do this. Come here.
I don't want to
sit. You got it. Come here. You are amazing.
Well, to see more of Chris Simpkins and Jeff Swycott reporting on America's opioid crisis, be sure to visit voanews.com. Now, in West Africa, like in other parts of the continent, dancing is an important part of the daily life and traditions. In the American city of Baltimore, Maryland, a multi-generational family is performing Senegalese and other West African dances. The Von Hendricks dance in local and national festivals. They recently started a school to teach the moves to others. The Von Hendricks are not of Senegalese origin, but their fascination with the culture made them dance like Senegalese. Faith Lapidus narrates for VOA's Faiza El Masri.
It's a family affair for the Von Hendricks. Jahan Von Hendricks busies herself in the kitchen, cooking for the hungry dance troupe. Her sister Ayana makes beading for the costumes. Brother Shakai and nephew Allende are drummers. And Jahan's daughter Diallo is a dancer in the troupe. She started dancing with her mother when she was just 18 months old. As you can see, a lot goes into this family production and plenty of time rehearsing.
Dee-dun-dun, 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 ba. So that's when you're going to put the turn in it.
The family has been performing together for 6 years. They are the members of the Kerkalehi African Dance Company.
Kerkalehi means House of Children in Wolof, which is the language of Senegal. My granddad was German, and my grandmom was Jamaican.
Part of the American melting pot, Jahan's parents enrolled her in an African dancing school where she picked up moves and got her siblings interested. Over the years, the West African culture became part of their identity.
Ever since I saw it when I was 10, I was hooked. It was like the sound of the drum just caught my attention.
These dances express raw emotions and spark creativity.
You're bouncing off of each other's energy, so it's really good.
13-year-old Diallo says dancing helped her develop social skills and make friends. But what she likes most about it, besides the lively music, are the costumes.
I like the costumes because they're very comfortable. They're very bright and pretty.
Even Shakura El Sharif has gotten in on the act. The 71-year-old hairstylist learned many other African dances in the past. She likes West African dances best.
I love everything about it. I love the drumming because it's so healing. It's very healing, you know, to the mind, the body, the soul, everything. It's like my medicine.
The Von Hendricks' dream is to teach more members of their community about West African dances and expose new members of the family to their dancing and drumming traditions. That promises to keep the family dancing for many generations to come. For writer Faiza El Masri, I'm Faith Lapidus, VOA News.
Wow, wow!
Well, Music Time in Africa's Heather Maxwell met up with the musical duo Shane Palco and Maro at VOA headquarters recently. The American-Ugandan act stopped by the studio for an interview. They talked about how they met at a performance for the King of Busoga and performed live and unplugged one of their hit songs.
Everybody, I'm Heather Maxwell in the studio at Voice of America with the musical duo Maro.
Hi.
And Shane Palco.
Hello.
Okay, so let's meet my studio guests.
Hello, my name is Shane Palco. I am from rural Pennsylvania, and I'm a folk musician and socio-environmentalist. I've been playing music my whole life, but I realize it's a really cool way to connect with culture.
And hey, my name is Maro Older. We're from Jinja, Uganda, and I do music that I would love to call Afro R&B. We do music for the pleasure, and we do music for business. We also do music just to have fun with other people.
Let me ask you how you actually met.
We were both asked to play at Achubagia, which is a celebration for the King of Busoga.
This is the biggest event in the region because we still have the kings. And guess who they asked to sing the song for the king? It was me and Shane. So we stood there.
No pressure, right?
Like it was like over 10,000 or 40,000 people. And it was boom, it was the start.
What was the name of that first song that you sang for the king?
It's called Come and See. So we were trying to call you to come and see Uganda.
When the river flows, I'll flow to you. There's a winding road that I will walk with you. Pearl of the continent, far from the sea. Before the sunset, there's so much to see. Come and see.
That's so nice. Now, Shane, you spent time in Uganda. How much time have you spent there, and what makes Uganda special to you?
Well, what makes Uganda my Ganda?
It's his Ganda.
Oh.
It's his Ganda.
That's a cute word from my 2-year-old niece, and she lives there. And so I went there to play a few shows and see my family, and that turned into, 4 trips so far, and 1 album and a couple music videos, and more plans for the future.
I'm staring at the window, watching the window.
So let me ask you, what are you doing in D.C.?
First, I've come to DC to record with another artist. He's from Uganda, but he's born and raised here.
I see.
So he loves what I do, but I also love the direction that he's taking. So right after here, we try to tour DC, then go straight to studio and,
and finish
do
up
something.
The album or just a single?
I'm just doing a single with them. Yeah.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
Do you have anything you'd like to say before we sign out?
I'd say I'm really thankful for the chance to make music with so many people around the world. It's been pretty beautiful.
And for you, for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I give thanks to my God one time. I give thanks to the ones who lit hands. To my old and new many fans.
Well, and that's our show for today. Now be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. And for more news, tune in to VOA's evening radio show Africa News Tonight at 1800 UTC. And in the mornings today, Break Africa between 0300 and 0600 UTC Monday through Friday. Thanks a lot for watching. From all of us in Washington, have a good night. Great weekend.
Welcome to English in a Minute. A corner is basically an angle where 2 sides meet.
Boxed in a corner.
Let's find out why these two are talking about corners.
What's wrong? You look worried.
My friend Nico quit his job, had a baby, and bought a new house, all at the same time.
How's that going?
Not good. He's out.